Hey there, everybody. I just want to tell you real quick that the food is coming after me, so you're not waiting for the 3 o'clock keynote. It'll be like 10 minutes. Just give me a second. My name is Ash, and I'd like to thank the Women's Council for inviting me to be a part of this event today, specifically Cindy and Julie, Carrie for all of her work in the last-minute logistics, and Hillary and Allison for introducing me. I'm going to talk to you today about how to give voice to your truth. And you might be like, Ash, this is a business conference. If we wanted that woo-woo stuff, we would have gone to yoga this morning. But I'm here to tell you that I am not woo-woo. I'm a Midwestern kid of small business owning parents. I eat meat and I don't drive a hybrid. And you and I, we have far more in common than you would first realize. And not just because I own my own business and I have a vagina. That's not what brings us together. What brings us together is that we've all had experiences in our life. We've had personal successes, professional failures. We've all been loved. We've all been hurt. We've all lived in a closet at some point in our lives. It might not have been a gay closet, but we've all hidden something from the world. And I say we all have a truth. So we're going to break this concept down into its 4 major parts. Give voice your truth. And I'm going to start with truth. That's the roots of what we're after. Without truth, this whole thing is shot. So what is truth? Truth, as defined by Webster's, is a verified or indisputable fact, proposition, or principle. Boring. According to Urban Dictionary, it is the things we hide from ourselves because it changes us, makes us uncomfortable, and awakens us. I'm a big fan of Urban Dictionary. To me, truth is very simply the fire inside us. Here's my truth. I think the greatest feeling is genuinely connecting with another person. I am a daughter and a sister and an aunt and a friend, and I value all of those roles equally. I am a lesbian, but that is not who I am. That is just part of me. I believe that living without compassion is disengaging in life, and living without passion leads to a lonely existence. I believe that if the person that you are kissing does not make your stomach drop, you should find somebody else to kiss. I believe that as I stand on high dives throughout my life, I want to be the person who fearlessly plunges. Belly flop or perfect 10, capacity crowd, or just me in the water, I want to be the person who jumps. Now, that may sound like a cheesy online dating profile, which probably explains my epic failures at online dating, but that's my truth. I want to live authentically. And it's such a crazy question. It took me a while to figure that out. What is my truth? Who am I? How am I defined? Am I defined by one cause, one relationship, one job, my past? Only if you want to be. You can define your truth with broad brushstrokes or with pointillism. So our next word is your. Pretty simple, right? Not his, not hers, not theirs, not even ours, but your. But it's a little bit more complicated than you first think. We're taught from a very young age what our truth should be. What it means to be a girl or a boy or pretty or fat or smart or successful or popular. When I was a kid, I wanted more than anything to be a Notre Dame football player for Halloween, more than anything. But in my family, in the early 80s, girls were not football players, girls were cheerleaders. So for 3 years straight, I was a Notre Dame cheerleader for Halloween. Now, no offense to cheerleaders. I think cheerleaders are great. It's just not my thing. I didn't want to be a cheerleader. I wanted to be a football player. And I learned an important lesson in that moment, even when I was 10, that it didn't matter that for 3 years I was a cheerleader. At the end, I didn't want to be a cheerleader any more than I did in the beginning. And it didn't get me any closer to being a football player. So when you're figuring out what your truth is, make sure it's not a more palatable, diluted version of truth, but that it's actually yours. When it comes to your truth, close enough does not cut it. So our third word is voice. We've all found our voice at different points in our lives. When we make a face when our parents try to feed us peas, when we decide that we will wear that fairy princess costume to school, we have an opinion, a voice, a position that will be heard. And oftentimes when we first find that voice, it's like a tsunami that we can't hold back. And it comes out harsh and mean, and we're indifferent to the consequences of the havoc it wreaks, because anything is better than losing our voice again. So we all have places that are scary, right? Places we go where we can't be ourselves. Could be a classroom, could be a boardroom, could be the bedroom, could be anywhere. For me, the scariest place in the world to go is a public bathroom. When you look the way I look, it's a very challenging place. You just want to go in, get out, do your thing, but the questions come and they are relentless. This is a women's bathroom. You're in the wrong place. What kind of predator are you? It would shake me to my core because someone couldn't define who I was, and I would cry in a bathroom stall. Put my head down, get out as quickly as I could, and my face would be red with anger, and 300 one-liners would pop in my head, but I would say none of them because I had no voice until eventually I found it. So I was in Chicago O'Hare, and my typical bathroom protocol was head down, first stall, get in, get out, hand sanitizer, get back into the real world. Because everywhere I went, my shoulders were broad, my head was high, everywhere but a public bathroom. So I walked in and tried to get in and out, and a woman stopped me when I went past her and said loud enough for the whole bathroom to hear, "You're in the wrong place. This is the women's bathroom. Do I need to call the police?" And unfortunately for this woman, it was that time of month. So I spun on the heel of my well-worn Converse low top and pulled a tampon out of my pocket and put it in this woman's face and said, "Your timing is perfect. I was just about to go into this stall and put this tampon in. So if you want to come with me and make sure I'm in the right bathroom, that'd be perfect." And if you can imagine the look on her face and the whole bathroom stopped, even those little water things stopped moving. And I shut the door, and I was so proud of myself, smiling from ear to ear. You want to make me uncomfortable? I'll show you uncomfortable. So that was my thing for a while. Everywhere I went, I had a tampon in my pack. It didn't matter what time of month it was. I would leave my house, and I'd be like, keys, phone, wallet, tampon. And it was great, and I freaked some people out. But it made me really hard, and it made me really mean, and it made me not me. Can you imagine the stress of walking around the world ready to whip a tampon out at any unsuspecting stranger? That's no way to go through life. And then I realized I was hiding behind a tampon. Here I was, successful, confident, hiding my truth behind shocking someone with a tampon. What do you hide behind? We have to realize that the words that come out of our mouth, they have an impact. They leave a mark on other people. You have to decide what you want your voice to do in this world. I got to the point where I stopped wanting mine to be shock and awe, and I wanted it to be a compassionate cause for change. So don't get me wrong, bathrooms are still a tough place. I got the 1, 2, 3, 4 when I was in DIA like 2 days ago. But a bathroom is no longer my battleground, and a tampon is no longer my weapon. Now, I don't put my head down, I put my head up. I look for a smile instead of a fight. I'm the one that smiles first. And I learned everything I needed to know about our fourth word, give, from a 4-year-old in a pink dress. So any of you that have seen the TED Talk, this is gonna be a repeat story, but it's a pretty formative one for me, so I'm gonna tell it again. Several years ago, as the gal said, I was working at the Southside Walnut Cafe, a local diner in Boulder. And during my time there, I went through phases of militant lesbian intensity. Not shaving my armpits, quoting Ani DeFranco lyrics as gospel, and depending on the bagginess of my cargo shorts and how recently I had shaved my head, the question would often be sprung on me, usually by a little kid. Are you a boy or are you a girl? The table would fall silent, clench my jaw a little tighter, grip my coffee pot with a little more vengeance. The mom would shoot a chilling stare at her kid, and the dad would awkwardly shuffle his newspapers, but I would say nothing. And I would seethe inside. And it got to the point where every time I walked up to a table that had a kid between 3 and 10 years old, I was ready to fight. And that is a terrible feeling, and incidentally, an awful way to try to make a living as a server when you're working for tips. So I decided eventually I would say something. I would have that hard conversation. So within a matter of weeks, it happened again. Are you a boy or are you a girl? But this time I was ready, and I was about to go all Women's Studies 101 on this table. I had my Gloria Steinem quotes, I had my Betty Friedan quotes, I even had this little thing from Vagina Monologues I was gonna do. So I take a deep breath and I look down, and staring back at me is a 4-year-old girl in a pink dress. Not some challenge to a feminist duel, just a kid with a question. Are you a boy or are you a girl? So I took another deep breath and I squatted down next to her and said, hey, I know it's kind of confusing. My hair's short like a boy's and I wear boys' clothes, but I'm a girl, and you know how sometimes you like to wear your pink dress and other times you like to wear your comfy jammies? Well, I'm more of a comfy jammies kind of girl. And this kid looks me dead in the eye without missing a beat and says, my favorite pajamas are purple with fish. Can I get a pancake, please? And that was it. Just, oh, all right, you're a girl. How about that pancake? It was the easiest hard conversation I ever had. And that's because this kid, in an instant, taught me how disarming it was to be real. And it was a brief conversation. Didn't last more than a couple seconds. But there was a connection. And those little connections are how we change our community. So maybe the next time they saw someone that didn't look exactly the way they thought they should look, they softened because the time I was nice to their kid. I know I wanted to stop fighting 4-year-olds after that and just let them do their thing. So let's say you figured it out. You're ready to give voice to your truth. What now? I say anything and everything. Speak, write, blog, mentor, make a new friend, whatever. You can do no wrong just by getting it out there. Please do not be frozen in the ice of your insecurity. If you wait for the perfect time or the perfect place or the perfect job title, the perfect income bracket to give voice to your truth, you will never get your word out there. We don't need you to be perfect. We need you to be you. Real, quirky, awkward you. So I'm going to leave you with one final thought. What if creating a culture in a community where authenticity and realness is valued is not about making policies or committees or study groups? What if all it takes is to celebrate the realness inside of you? What if you start with yourself? So I'm going to ask a question that has probably never been uttered in the halls of the Weston Conference Center in Westminster, Colorado. What is your tampon? What is the one thing that you are hiding behind? What is stopping you from being authentically you? Is it your job title? Is it your family history? Is it your responsibilities? Is there one person in the world, could be a stranger, could be your best friend, where you can holster that tampon, where you can choose compassion over conflict, love over fear? And what if we all did that? And what if the person that we did that to was so inspired that they did the same, and so on and so on and so on? What if creating a community was as easy as that? You have a perfect opportunity to start to do this. You're about to, well, get your meal, but then you're going to have a conversation about your table topics. And I say the bravest person at your table isn't the one who catches the person, that shares their story, that gives advice on how they can maybe fix it next time. I say the bravest person at your table, the leader of your table, is the person who jumps first. So be that person. Thank you so much. Enjoy.
Ash, thank you so much. Ash will be around during the networking and bazaar that will follow the closing speakers if you'd like to speak with her directly. We hope that this short program not only opens conversations, but also invites you to continue these discussions and support each other beyond today's event. Since we're moving straight into the closing speaker, 15 minutes before the end of lunch, which is 45 minutes, we will flash the lights to let you know that this would be a good time to take a break if you needed to. Please enjoy your discussions.